And we're back. So I have a little bit of a theory that I put into chat during break about what was going on with future and past uni. Future uni is probably like 12 years old. Past uni, which is when we're dealing with right here in front of our face, is about 11. My theory is that uni has been here for a year. The future uni, that is, was in Sphia for a year after the crash happened, probably with PTSD or some sort of equivalent thereof, because of being the only survivor from the crash. Because as we experienced through some of the bad ends, even with future uni there, not everything could be prevented. And during the avalanche, every single ending where everybody else died, they did something to try and protect Uni, so he could have survived that avalanche. And when the avalanche happened, you better bet your ass that whatever rescue team was trying to get there moved their butts as fast as possible to get there, so he could be saved. And if that happened, then he would probably have recovered, not physically, but an emotional wreck, because, you know, everyone died and probably needed some psychiatric care, depending on how extreme it was. Especially if he's at Sphia, chances are it was really extreme. Yukito-kun, don't you want to hear? As urged, I hastily followed Utsumi. Just before I entered the room, I threw a glance over my shoulder. Uni sitting shyly in the chair in the dining area. At a loss of what to do, he was staring back at me bewildered. Now, as for why she wants to split us up, I think it could be something as benign as Uni seems to be kind of fragile, and I want to tell you a lot of stuff so you know the whole story, but you know enough to know that we need to keep certain things from him. Or it could be way more sinister as I need you and Uni to know different things because reasons. Keep in mind, Utsumi does kind of want to kill Keigo if she knows for a fact the personality wakes back up. She wants to murder her. A lot. There's something I'd like to say before we begin. Utsumi took a seat on the bed. Go ahead. She urged me towards a nearby chair with a wave of her hand. I leaned against the chair in front of the desk. So, what was you wanting to say? This is Sphia, a specified psychiatric hospital for isolation and ages. Is that clear to you? That much I know, if you haven't told me. No, you don't understand the first thing about it yet. This is a facility that houses people diagnosed with mental disorders. In short, the people here are... all nut jobs, you say? Could you put it in a, in a more sensitive way? Because fuck, man. That's right. Well, she goes along with it. Saying this might be somewhat rude, but I have to say it anyway. I personally have my doubts as to whether the three of you actually have mental disorders. Ah. Okay. She has the same doubts I do. That goes for Inabushi Keigo and Uni-kun as well. Conversely, it would be fair to say the same from your standpoint. For the four of us here, including me, there's a possibility that we all suffer from mental disorders and... Sorry, but I don't get what you're trying to say. What I'm trying to say is don't trust anyone. Inabushi Keigo's words, Uni-kun's words, your words, and indeed my own words as well. Anyone's. You can't assert that there is any truth to anyone's words. Wait a minute. I can understand you not being able to trust us. Why mustn't I trust Uni's words, or even your own words? And isn't it a bit strange for you to tell me something that shouldn't necessarily believe you in the first place? All I'm saying is all I'm trying to tell you to do is look ahead. To look ahead? I suspect you will sooner or later come to doubt my words. Utsumi Kali may have a mental disorder too. That thought might cross your mind. And if that happens, you'd have to go back and reanalyze every single sentence you've heard me say. It'd be quite the nuisance, wouldn't it? So that's why I've decided to warn you in advance. What I say, what I inform you of now may not necessarily be restricted to the truth. Do you understand? Well, it's okay, even if you don't understand it now. Anyway, let me repeat myself. Don't trust anyone and anything anyone says here. Every last one of us. It'd be better if you thought of us as liars. And since that is what we are, the things we say may end up being fibs, misconceptions, or even deliberate deception. However, try not to get distracted by that, okay? Wow, that's like the least helpful thing. I want you to have the composure to accept it as is. I want you to always remain calm. Got that? Remember, this is an instrumental in the way of keeping your sanity. Will you accept this? I see. I find it difficult to completely understand what you're saying. Well, I think I'll take your advice as it stands. I won't believe a word you say. And you, in turn, are free to view me as a liar. So if we all doubt one another, we'll end up building a sort of mutual trust. Is that it? A broad smile. Her face lit up and she nodded slightly. Now then, shall we begin? Contradictory to the seriousness of the subjects, our talk now began with playful words. You better not be cutting out this whole explanation of uni thing. It was a long talk. As it stretched on, it grew in complexity as well as length. More and more overlapping subjects were now becoming obvious. As I asked my questions, I constantly shuffled the answers in my head. As far as I could tell, our discussion boiled down to this. About me, Yukito Satoru. Utsumi and Uni seem to think I have DID. A fact I'd very much like to deny, but it seems difficult to test or refute it under normal circumstances. Here's the problem! Why are you in Sphia when the DID thing, even if you actually, because you don't actually have it, you're just personality swapping, is a new phenomenon. Unless this has happened before, or you tricked them into letting you into Sphia in the first place because you needed to be here for some reason, which for some reason your convenient amnesia is preventing us from knowing. So, for the time being, as a temporary measure, I decided to go along with the assumption. I have no idea what Inabushi thinks of me right now. However, sooner or later, the news of my condition will become known to her. Utsumi, or maybe Uni, will surely inform her of it. Hey there, Yukito-kun. DID, right? We're the same, aren't we? There's no stopping that. So I realized I just have to accept it. You won't have to worry about that because she will forget how to speak for some reason. Utsumi, Uni, and Ibushi, the three of them will inevitably come to view me as having a DID. It's not like I particularly care. Compared with all the other problems in my mind, that wasn't really a big deal. Now, amongst the myriad of other things really bothering me was this. Hey look, it's the cloud rendering from Photoshop. Pea-flavored this time. And Uni pointed out some time ago, why did Utsumi act so calmly to that me with DID claiming to be Fuyukawa Kokoro? She clearly knew Fuyukawa Kokoro being caught in avalanche with her husband Yamogi Seiji. When I tried to deceive her with the name of a person she knew as a matter of course, you'd expect her to react with a healthy dose of repulsion or something. In her own words, yes, it certainly was a shock at first. Although shock is a rather understatement, I really did think you were lying, and I instinctively slapped you. Yep, both Satarus got slapped, in a way of speaking, but so did both Kokoros, in a way of speaking. And my apology a little while ago was for that. I was mistaken about you, Yukito-kun, therefore I'm sorry. However, she said it didn't bother her anymore. Why is that so? It also seems Utsumi knew I'd gone out with Lin thanks to a mysterious document, the matter of which I shall touch upon later, but it is in this case Utsumi trusted that document with 100% certainty. Why are people trusting this document? This is how she put it. Yukito-kun, deep within your heart you still feel strongly for Mayazumi-san, but she has long since left this world. She died on 17th of January last year. It's painful to accept such a reality, so you try not to admit it. But inside yourself, the thought of bringing about a world where Mayazumi-san is still alive, it is just within you, lives on. However, creating an image of her in your mind just won't do it for you. Thus, your purpose lies in isn't to conjure up such an image, but a false reality, so to speak, where it's a fact that Mayazumi-san is alive. So, trying to be as logical and consistent as you could, you desperately try to reduce the world within your mind, to cheat yourself, to make it believable. You sought out and found a third personality, not Mayazumi-san nor yourself. So would you choose? Someone who could perhaps be able to change the sad reality? It would be easiest for you to take on the role of one of the other survivors who were caught in the avalanche. It doesn't matter who. The one you chose was Fuyukawa Kokoro, it seems. But that was just Utsumi's explanation. I had a different opinion. Lin and I parted ways over 18 months ago. It may be a bit cold to say this, but by the time of the accident, I simply didn't love her as much as I did before. Of course, losing her was sad. Sad, but certainly not the point where it would cause me to develop a personality disorder. Consequently, I couldn't accept Utsumi's claim. I did agree with certain parts of it, but at any rate, that's how it was. That was just Utsumi's personal interpretation anyway, one which I quickly decided to disregard. Her strange advice in the introduction, don't trust anyone's words, had helped me a lot with this matter. Next, about my amnesia. I decided to be frank and told Utsumi the following. I have no recollection of any events, except for a select few from the time of my birth up until now. Fuck! Damn it! Strictly speaking, my memories began the moment I began having dreams about that mountain cabin. Nyah! I can hardly remember anything that happened before that. But somehow there were other things that I hadn't forgotten.
Hereafter, I will list the most important memories. First, my own name. My name is Yukido Satoru. I'm 21 years old. Today is Wednesday, January 11th, 2012. I am in Sphia, the specified psychiatric hospital for isolated and ages. The layout of Sphia is also roughly inscribed in my mind, more or less familiar with my current surroundings. Excuse me. People here at Sphia are Inabushi Keiko, Yotsumi Kali, and me. According to my memory, only the three of us should be here. Uni must be a special case. I'm really trying to make Uni work. You're trying to fit him in with all this? Yeah, don't worry, I'm trying to. Inabushi Keiko has DID. After the incident in Awazumi, she was institutionalized here. I know the full story of the tragedy that occurred in the hospital. I'll leave Uni and Utsumi for later. Next up, we have Mount Akakura. The crash of HAL 18 last year, and the three survivors who later buried in the avalanche. These facts are clearly etched in my memory. The people in the shelter: Yomogi Seiji, Fuyukawa Kokoro, Mayuzumi Lin, and Kusada Uni. Yomogi is Utsumi's husband and a mountaineer. Archer Pendrag. Lurk mode activated, that's fine. Thank you very much for lurking within me. I'm gonna move on before I say something stupid. My poor brain. Okay. Kokoro is a third-year student at Kiyomekan in Moons University. There, you didn't get posted. Twitch chat, why do you hate me? Try and post it again, Shamir. Sometimes it just is weird. Mayuzumi Lin. It would take forever to try and list all the things I remember about her. I'm sorry it didn't post. If you see it on your end, but it's not on my end, just copy-paste it. The fact that we were going out, several episodes in our relationship, some noteworthy conversations, and so on. Sometimes I feel like I remember more about Lin than I do myself. I know all there is to know about her. Lin was a very important person to me, much more so than just a romantic liaison. So that should be just about everything I can remember. Now then, this time, let's line up the things I forgot, or perhaps don't know to begin with. First of all, as I said before, prior to the dream in the mountain cabin, I remember nothing. Where I was born, what my childhood was like, how I lived until now. Don't even remember my parents. And how about something more recent? How long have I been in Sphia? Why am I here? Why? What for? What's my goal here? The only possibilities that sprung to my mind were that I was a patient or a staff member. When I asked Utsumi about this, "You must have been a member of the staff, but I'm not sure anymore. Perhaps you've been a patient here from the start." Just like that, she said something that only added to my unnecessary confusion. Let's move on. I know a lot about Inabushi Keiko as well. On the other hand, Utsumi and Uni are still a mystery to me. Yeah, French class. Oh no. Look about deactivated. What is this? We are playing Remember 11 visual novel. We are currently in chapter 2 after the very long chapter 1. A bit of a mystery with time travel shenanigans, we believe, body swap shenanigans, and lots and lots and lots of text. But Sunset Wildfire, good luck with your French class. Parlez-vous français is about all I know. I took Spanish class, and I forgot most of it. On the other hand, though, I took enough Spanish that I didn't have to take it in college. Wait, maybe I should have taken it anyway and bettered myself as a person. Ah, who cares? Why is Utsumi at Sphia? The way she put it was, "I'm working here as a psychiatrist." Oh, we finally have an explanation, which is kind of bullshit probably, but we have an explanation. But those words will now lack credibility, since she herself instructed me not to trust anyone and decided to do just that regarding this matter. I can't disregard the possibility of Utsumi being a patient here, which is what I believe. I'm used to muds. What about Uni? Why is he here? Our conversation on the matter went along these lines. Good. This is information I need. I don't know. He just suddenly showed up. Fuck! That helps me less! Suddenly showed up? I think it was time after 5 in the evening, and I noticed Uni-kun was here. That's ridiculous. The facility isn't a place someone from the outside would simply stroll in and out of, right? I know that just as well as you do. What else can I say? He was just there. That's totally absurd. I know, right? Utsumi seemed to think so as well. Of course I thought it was suspicious at first, too. I kept my guard up just in case he was plotting something. It's only natural, right? He's the only survivor of the plane crash.
who then suddenly shows up just like that in front of me? Me, a family of one of the victims? For example, what if Uni-kun had been transferred to Sophia as a patient without me knowing? Wouldn't that be strange? Wouldn't you normally think it's weird? After Tsumi voiced all her doubts I myself was having, she continued. But you know what? The one document solved everything. Since both the source and the author are known, I guess it belongs to a class of documents you couldn't use as a reference for term paper.
That's not useful information!
What is that document? It's basically a collection of a huge amount of text files stored on a terabyte disk. A terabyte disk? You mean the one Uni was carrying? Yes. What kind of things were in there? Kusida Uni exists to exist.
That's useful! Officially hates walls of text. Shamir, try and break it into pieces. I don't know why it's doing that to you. But yeah, try and break it into smaller stuff. I'm interested in hearing your theory.
Eh? Of course, not only that. The fact that Yukido-kun and Mayazumi-kun were once lovers. The fact that Yukido-kun has dissociative identity disorder. As for the rest of it, I can call it nothing short of prophecy spanning many gigabytes.
They do. They try to combat cancer walls. What? I'm guessing Arthur sees what you're posting and I don't.
Things that only I or only Uni could possibly know are there, spelled out in black and white. Here and there, whoever made this were even courteous enough to attach a video pertaining to contents of the text. So I came to believe that the things mentioned in there were true. I couldn't help but believe them. That would be a more accurate way to put it.
No, you don't see it? Oh, they try to comment. Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't understand your what you were saying there. I guess you mean like spam walls. Yeah, they probably do stuff like that.
Despite not knowing who wrote it or why? That's a triviality. If you read it too, I think you'll agree.
Can I read it? Twitch trying to stop wall text spams to troll raids and bigger streams. Yeah. I see what you're saying now. In the end, the matter of Uni had been left unsettled. Kusida Uni exists to exist. Can't understand anything until I see the contents of that disk. We'll try borrowing it from Uni later. That said, I'll temporarily put the investigation of mystery of Uni on hold. No! Do it now! Now then, let's continue. The continuation of the list of things forgotten by me. Tried to think about the people in Mount Akakura. There were so many things related to Kokoro and Yomogi that I didn't know, which was reasonable. I could only remember them as victims caught in an avalanche along with Lin. Come to think of it, I can't really say that I remember everything about Lin either. I remember a lot from when we were dating, but I'd forgotten something quite important. Namely, the beginning and the end. In other words, how and why we started dating and why we broke up. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't remember. Had we really gone out? I doubted even that. However, I can't remember what I can't remember. I decided it would be better to give up on that line of thought. That was roughly all the content of my memories. Incomprehensible indeed. There seemed to be no rhyme or reason as to what was remembered and what I had forgotten. The more I thought about how irrational it was, the more worried I became. Tsumi had this to say. Your condition clearly differs from typical amnesia, and it's nothing I've ever seen before, so I really can't tell. But perhaps your existence right now may be the result of a brand new personality born within your body. If you think about it that way, it would explain why you have no memories of the past. The fragmentary memories popping up here and there are maybe directly related to the original Yukido-kun. But if I'm not mistaken, you woke in Sophia about an hour and a half ago, right? If that's so, Yukido-kun, the current you, the one I'm talking to, is a special existence, one that gave its birth cry a mere 90 minutes ago. Doesn't seem like the game for you. That's absolutely fine, Arthur. Not everybody likes visual novels, not everybody likes this style of the game. It's totally understandable if it's not your thing. There's plenty of other things to watch on Twitch if you wish to keep going on Twitch. And I hold no grudge against people who don't like this sort of thing. Of course it was just a possibility, but I'll bear it though. For another note, was Straw Poll 4. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I play a game voted by the viewers, a blind RPG. We finished the latest blind RPG, Dragon Quest VI, or I should say it finished me, yesterday. So the straw poll is voting for what I play tomorrow, or starting on the next Monday, Wednesday, Friday streams. So, feel free to vote on any game you feel like you'd like to see me play blind for the first time, unless otherwise noted on that straw poll, and keep in mind you can vote for more than one option. You can vote for as many as you want. personality was born 90 minutes ago? Wouldn't that mean I didn't exist before? That's nonsense. It couldn't be. I was about to lose my temper and started thinking about how I could prove her wrong, even if it cost me my life. But to my regret and dismay, I could find no words to reject her statement with. Tactics Ogre is one of the games. Keep in mind that I will be playing... I play games in chronological order, as that is to say games as they came out. I'm sorry, release order is the word I was looking for. Release order. So I'd be playing whatever the first Tactics Ogre game is. I was about to lose my temper and started thinking about how I could prove him wrong. The mere fact that I was of my being here would surely imply the need for my identity to have a consistent past and history. Nevertheless, I just can't accept her reasoning. I most certainly have a past and a history. Might have had no basis for it right then, but I certainly feel a strong need to persuade myself of this. It's fine, you love the series? Oopsies. I'm bumping things. And so our talk ended. Utsumi also summed up the events that happened today for me. Up until this evening, I'd been just another calm, ordinary day, and everything proceeding as usual. And then, just after 4 p.m., during the raging blizzard, a bolt of lightning struck Svia's clock tower. Of course, since Utsumi didn't go outside, she couldn't say that she'd witnessed the scene firsthand. All Ogre Battle and Tactics Ogre games happen in the same world. I am aware of this. I, in fact, mentioned it during my really, really long Ogre Battle 64 Let's Play that I did on YouTube. One of my earlier Let's Plays, and definitely my longest. And one that still gets tons of views today, comparatively speaking to my old stuff, to my other stuff. I'm aware that Ogre Battle 64 is technically a sequel, and that Tactics Ogre is its own thing. The only reason why I'm not playing the SNES Ogre Battle game, and it's not on that list, is because I've tried playing it before, and I just couldn't get into it on SNES for some reason. But yes, I'm aware they all share a world. Of course, since Utsumi didn't go outside, she couldn't witness firsthand, but she had experienced the sound of lightning hitting the tower, the shock that followed, and the flash from the other side of the window. Incidentally, at the same time, Utsumi had also witnessed a far more shocking scene. As lightning bolt struck, Utsumi was in the living area, looking outside the window. In the darkness, a pale flash illuminated the surroundings. At that moment, that exact instant, you fell. You fell from the sky. I fell from the clock tower alongside that bolt of lightning. Lotus, the greatest country! The living area's window looked out into the roofless terrace. The terrace was covered with layers of snow about a meter thick. That snow has acted as a cushion, aiding my escape from death. Utsumi dug me out of the snow and carried me to the bedroom I woke up in. At that time, needless to say, I was unconscious. Around 5 p.m. Though it was mentioned before, Utsumi found Uni inside Svia. Discovery took place in one of the rooms supposedly vacant until then. She heard a noise and opened the door to find a lone boy crouching on the floor. Utsumi was bewildered. Why is Kusuda Uni here? She was puzzled, feeling something akin to fear, so she didn't try to talk to him. Around 8 p.m., Utsumi visited my room to check up on me. Utsumi said I introduced myself as Fuyukawa Kokoro then. That, combined with the Uni's sudden and unexplained appearance, caused her to suddenly lash out. She slapped me, yelled, "Stop messing around," and left the room. Afterward, according to Uni, I looked in a mirror and went berserk. Utsumi, who had heard the scream, rushed in and injected me with a sedative. Sorry. Just like Inabushi a short while ago, I fell asleep in an instant. Utsumi and Uni then read through the contents of the mysterious terabyte disk. Then, around 9 p.m., I opened my eyes as me, in existence with the consciousness of Yukito Sudaro. Since I remember everything from that point, there was no need for her to continue. Thus, Utsumi's long story ended. As I finished listening to it, I felt very refreshed. Of course, there was still a mountain of things I didn't understand. But the things I didn't understand, and the things I did understand, for me being able to make that distinction felt like a huge leap forward. With this, I have told you everything I know. Now then, next is Uni-kun's turn. Will you go call him for me? Utsumi stood up and walked up to the door. She put her hand on the doorknob. I too stood up from my chair. I stopped just before leaving the room. There was still something bothering me. What caused my DID is something she already sort of explained. Why did I climb the clock tower is way more important. Can I just ask you one thing? Of course. Why did I even go up to the clock tower in the first place? You don't remember that either. That's right. Then the reason why you fell from the clock tower? I don't know. Utsumi-san, do you know something? No. Last time I saw you, if I recall correctly, was around 3:30 p.m. Unless she's one of the people who pushed him off. I saw you from behind, going down the stairs from the living area.
Going down the stairs? Have you remembered something? No, nothing.
I shook my head, my mouth slackening into a self-derisive grin.
Will that be all for now? Please call Uni-kun for me.
You've been a big help.
Thank you for telling me all those things.
Expressing my gratitude from the bottom of my heart, I left the room.
Alright. Ah, right.
Just as I stepped in the living area, I heard a voice call out me again. I turned around to see Tsumi on the other side of the open door when I last saw her.
Yukino-kun, sorry to ask, but could you please put away those cups on the table for me?
Her gentle smile calmed my mind immediately. So original Uni timeline. Crash cabin, Uni only survivor, Uni the Sophia, Uni figures out time travel. That's pretty consistent with my theory, yeah. There truly is a soothing force that transcends all reason within the smile of a beautiful woman.
Yeah, I got it.
Returned her smile.
Thanks.
Her smile broadened further. An ordinary exchange of ordinary words and courtesies. Right now, even ordinary words feel as though they're incredibly precious to me. I headed toward the kitchen on steps as light as a feather. Uni swaps with second Uni, and takes on the cabin and forces it so secondary Uni only starts from Sophia, with walkthrough gotten from first Uni. Again, pretty consistent with my theory.
You took forever.
Uni sighed, sounding tired. Resting his chin on his hands, he looked at me with drowsy eyes from across the table.
What'd you talk about?
Well, this and that.
Utsumi-san's waiting for you in there. She told me to send you in. Gotcha.
With that lackadaisical answer, Uni left his seat. Swaying on his feet like a drunk, he headed towards Utsumi's room. So second Uni swaps with third Uni, so at this point the original Uni doesn't exist anymore in a sense at least of our timeline. No, I don't think that really is fitting. Why do we need a third Uni? I don't understand why you think there needs to be a third Uni. First Uni is future Uni, goes through all the events, and then swaps. Oh right, there would have to be a... There would have to be a third Uni if... I don't think so. I don't think I understand why there needs to be a third Uni necessarily. After I watched him go,
well then, let's get this cleaned up.
I lifted the 3 cups up the table with 3 of my own fingers. Cups in hand, I walked toward the sink. The hold my 3 fingers had on the handles was rather precarious. Just as I tried to get a better grip, the cup slipped right out of my hands. Good job, Satoru. Oh, never mind. Can't read the third message? So second Uni swaps with third Uni. Look at what I see on my screen. Crash, swaps with second, everything's still... Oh, I didn't read that. That's weird. It didn't appear for a while, I think. Everything still gets fucked up due to this something that happening at Sophia, or the Kokoro Satoru body swap. Any thing there changes, so he needs to know from Sophia. Third one gets take on Sophia with an altered walkthrough. I don't know. I don't think they're... I think that's overcomplicating it a bit. I don't think the walkthrough is new information. I think it's just something that... it's new information in that we hadn't heard about it before, but I don't think it's new in the sense that it didn't exist when we were going through Kokoro's story.
Oh, damn it.
I grumbled as I gathered up broken pieces.
1, 2, 3. I picked them up without even thinking about it.
When I reached the next broken piece, I finally noticed it. I jumped back in confusion, feeling like I touched something I wasn't supposed to. A few fragments slid from my hand, fluttering and dancing in the air like scraps of paper. No, that's not it. Those really are scraps of paper. Tiny characters were squeezed onto each scrap. I could tell at a glance that it was a newspaper. I should have recognized the newspaper scraps from where they were. For some reason, I'd mistaken them for something else. Oh, this is when Kokoro saw the newspaper, but it's all ripped up and shit. To put it precisely, I was convinced they were pieces. They were the pieces of broken cups, because up until now they'd really been cups in my hand. And yet, just like magic, they were suddenly transformed into newspaper. Still breathing from the shock, I almost forgot to continue to breathe altogether. You okay now? The man standing beside me spoke. It's Yomogi, man in the dream. Why was he here? The answer's obvious. I guess my consciousness had once again been pulled into the dream world.
Damn, what a pain. Why'd you do that? Never mind, it's pointless even to ask. You probably had another fit, that's all. Eesh.
With those words, Yomogi knelt down and began collecting up the newspaper scraps. Someone else decided to silently help him. It was Uni. Looking across the room, I could see Lynn here, too. She was chewing on something with her chin planted on the table. Was it gum? She seemed pretty listless and had an apathetic look on her face. I was in the mountain cabin. Everything in the room was almost identical to the dream I'd seen earlier. If I had to name a single difference, it undoubtedly would be the scraps of paper that were scattered all over the floor.
This dream again.
Yomogi turned around, still kneeling on the floor and grumbling as he picked up the scraps.
Huh? No, nothing, don't worry.
It would be meaningless to say anything to the characters in the dream. Waving my hands in a gesture of please keep it up, I headed over the cabin window. There was a blizzard outside. I could tell due to the countless snowflakes striking glass and the gloomy echoes that filled the room. Gazed in the darkness of the storm, besides the swirling white, there was nothing out there to be seen. I turned my eyes to the surface of the glass. Though I'd already expected this, I couldn't help but despair whenever I saw my reflection. I have to try to organize my thoughts again. Just as I'd feared, the reflection of the surface of the glass.
Damn it, who is this woman anyway?
Those words left my mouth unconsciously. It's you, another self whispered to me.
I know that already.
Just be sure I had to confirm it with my own eyes. I tried smiling, pursing my lips, bringing my hand to my cheek. No matter what I did, the woman reflected in the glass matched my movements perfectly. There were bilateral symmetry and no time difference. She reproduced everything I did without discrepancy, exactly the same way. I turned away from the window. Surprise attack! She immediately turned around as well, staring at me with eyes full of suspicion. Still standing there by the window, I looked down at my body. There's a reason why I figured only 2 would make sense at first time travel, but I forgot why. Maybe. It could be you're seeing something that I'm not. I don't think there needs to be a 3rd. But it would lend itself to a secondary theory I'm kind of having that doesn't necessarily have a ton of evidence for supporting. Except for a meta evidence. And I don't want to use the meta evidence because it references other games that people might not have played. And I don't want to do that. Still standing by the window, I looked down at my body. A ribbon in my chest, a light pink skirt, and high lace-up boots. I moved my hands and placed them together. My action speed was no different than reality. I swung my arms, did a stretch, I jumped, even did a high knee dash. And I tried it again without using my hands, and my movements became pretty awkward. Okay, let's try some push-ups now. What? Before I reached double digits, my head collapsed to the wooden floor in exhaustion, and an overwhelming lack of physical strength. The physical endurance of my body was far different than what I expected. So when the first uni would only have info from the cabin with no time-travel stuff and Sphia. Future uni. Yes. And in my suspicion, all the events that normally played out in the cabin played out as is as well for future uni, at least mostly for the same part. Obviously there were some differences, but there would have to have been a reason that they left the cabin going in the direction they did. Remember, the reason why they went that direction is because Kokoro had an idea from the newspaper. So there is a bit of a problem there, unless we're talking about a perfect time loop, wherein somebody had to do the time travel events to create a perfect time loop to cause the events to happen. But if that was the case... we'll see. Any more information? Yeah, Shamir, you just made the same connection I did. The newspaper's necessary for the events of the avalanche to happen. Or are they? Is it, I should say. A divergence between the mental and physical self. Though the body was still made of normal human flesh, I felt like it was composed of something akin to jelly. I'd like to think it's not one. Yeah, not in a game with multiple endings. I don't think a perfect time loop will be what we want. Got up unsteadily, wiped the dust from my clothes. Thankfully, there's no hindrance to everyday movement. The real problem was the potential physical output and stamina. No, it wasn't just that. In the long run, there were two differences I was unlikely to adapt to easily. First, the memory organs growing on my chest. They weren't all that big, but that didn't change the fact that they were definitely depressingly there. The idea that something that shouldn't be there actually was, just as though it were natural, made me feel uncomfortable. As far as I was concerned, they were undesired and nothing but an obstacle. And more so, there were two of them! Sitaru, there are certain points where your type of thought and my type of thought diverge. This might be one of them. You get way overly obsessed about boobs, dude. Don't saddle me with these things was one of the complaints I wanted to make. And on top of that, I really wanted to do something about the feeling of oppression on my chest. Reached an arm into my clothes, searched along my back, and undid the hook. I'm sorry! That's why! That's right, I seem to remember her bra being undone at some point during her story. He's a moron. Why would you... Oh, God. Anyway. Ew. Get a little easier to breathe. Secondly, my lower half felt cold. It was drafty, and the skirt made me feel uneasy. I feel like it'd be something this game would do with Uni trying to save Kokoro might cause the whole swapping phenomenon somehow. Oh, I've already made that assumption, that somehow his time travel is what's causing the body swap. That's totally something I said way early on, I believe. Do the creatures known as women really walk around wearing something that renders them so defenseless? Welcome to sexism in outfits. It's somehow hard to believe. I tried pushing the skirt up between my thighs. It didn't fit well there. Tried pulling it around my rear, but as I feared, it didn't help at all. And something hit me. Something that shouldn't be there actually was. I was well aware of this terrible situation. Moreover, it was also the case that something that shouldn't be there now isn't. Should be there now isn't. Oh no! Oh yeah, I forgot the most important thing! Feeling a little dismayed, I tried searching around for it. No way. Are you serious? It wasn't there. And it should be there. Wasn't. Why are they so obsessed with their genitals? Which is why I thought it might not have happened the first timeline, so the first round of info really wouldn't apply to the second timeline where the swapping is happening. I can see that. I can see that, sort of. My most precious treasure had been snatched away. I was driven to distraction over the loss of this important symbol. It's not there, it's not there, it's not there. Where did it go? Groped around my lower body in desperation, searching for what was lost, searching for my irreplaceable pal. Confusion and bewilderment can't come close to describing the way I felt. It was a state of emergency. An emergency equal to destruction of the world. Why is everybody so obsessed with their genitals? But no matter where and how much I searched, I couldn't find it. Obviously, I didn't do something to crawl from out into the bed and say good evening. It's the body of a stranger, a woman's body. Furthermore, it's happening in a dream. I know that, but I couldn't help muttering it. It's not there. With both hands still between my legs, I held up to the heavens. Please stop that. You're looking really weird. I'm not repeating this. Felt a pair of eyes bore into me, so I rolled around. 3 figures stood in front of the table. Their mouths hung wide open as they stared straight at me. A cigarette dropped from Yomogi's lips. Yuni's glasses were slipping down. Around Lin's mouth were the remnants of pop bubblegum bowl. I looked down. Something a woman shouldn't expose to public was in plain sight. 2 hands were spread across an unfortunate place. Fantastic! You're a moron. Yeah, it might be more than just time travel, too. I slowly adjusted the position of my hands and stood up, dusting the skirt off as I did. No, really, it's that, see, it was itchy, you know? Sort of. You're a moron. You're a complete moron. Itchy? Look, there's a stone fairy outside the window. I pointed behind them. They all took the bait and turned around. Now! I immediately ran away, seeking refuge in the basement. Sitaru is officially a moron. Yeah. But I can't help but be amazed that the oldest trick of the book actually worked. From the rectangular opening above the ladder, I could hear the sound of whispering voices. I could just about make out what they were saying. We better tie her to the bed or something. As it is, who knows what she'll do? No, that's going too far. After all, she's a woman, you know. Why don't we just leave her alone?
She can't do any real harm.
While listening attentively, I started to think. This is so stupid. That's what I've been saying. What the hell am I doing? This is a dream, right? It's not real. So why did I get embarrassed and hide down here? Well, it was true that I'd lost my beloved symbol. It has nothing to mourn over. I decided to accept this phenomenon in a manly fashion. But then, what if this world wasn't a dream? Was Fia in the cabin? Possibility that both could be real is unimaginable, right? That's not possible. I shook my head and quickly tossed the idea aside. God, he's in as much denial about this as she was. Sorry, that's not helping. After climbing the ladder, I stealthily peeked up from the first floor.
You're right. For now, let's just act like nothing ever happened. Anyway, let's try not to provoke her, okay?
He was the first one to notice me after I poked my head out. You're way more stupid than the situation. With the tip of one finger, Uni prodded at Yomogi, who turned to face me.
Hey, where did you run off to? You vanished all of a sudden. We were looking for you.
The tone of his voice was so forced. It was a bit hard to hide in this place. The basement storeroom is comprised of the only other floor.
Don't just hide down there. Come on up. We're all waiting for you, you know.
Yomogi spread his arms wide, trying to look welcoming. The situation complicated, well, you're an idiot. The two aren't compatible at all. He's actually really, really smart. He's just overly obsessed with, things.
Uni was looking away, his lips pursed in a sour expression. Lynn just blew another bubble with her gum as she fiddled with a piece of firewood. Sure didn't look like either of them had been waiting. Well, whatever. I climbed back up and sat down in one of the log chairs beside the table.
At least they're not ghost chairs like before.
Uniform! The cold atmosphere permeated the room. Everyone was trying to stay calm and composed. So was I. We were playing dumb, pretending nothing had happened just now. Newly gathered newspaper scraps were piled up on the table. From the looks of things, it had been torn up pretty haphazardly, and definitely by hand. There was no regularity in the size of the scraps, and the soft fiber of the paper was exposed along the edges. Here's the issue, though. He didn't rip up the paper. Neither did Kokoro. It happened during the body swap. Which brings one of two things to mind. Either, during the body swap, there is some sort of physical anomaly which goes on, which probably doesn't because we've specifically asked people about that in Kokoro's storyline. Or two, someone temporarily was in Kokoro's body and did it for her? Or maybe, possibility 3, Kokoro actually did rip it up and just didn't remember it because it was such an emotional thing. It was ripped up more than just a spasm. You had to rip up that thing quite a bit. There was more than just one rip, is what I'm trying to say. What does it mean? Are they trying to make confetti out of it? Uni, there's some tape down below, right? Would you mind bringing some of it here? Sure, got it. Uni disappeared down the ladder. Now then, any chance you could help out too? No, he sat in front of me as he spoke. With what? With this jigsaw puzzle. Jigsaw puzzle? We're gonna put this newspaper back together. Why? I want to know why you destroyed it. I destroyed it? Yeah. Since you're asking again, I guess you don't remember. Yeah, no need to answer that. No use in saying the same thing over and over again. At any rate, right after you saw what was written on that article, you lost your mind. You started yelling and raging around, and then you ripped the whole thing to shreds. And that's how the nice little mountain of paper was born. Of course, I won't tell you to accept what I'm saying. Doesn't matter, even if you don't. Still, I'm worried. I get the impression there's something very important written in here. Something big enough to drive your mind to breaking point. How about it? Won't you lend us a hand? There's no reason to refuse. Besides, like Yomogi, I want to know why the newspaper's torn up. No choice then. Where do you want me to start? As Yomogi nodded with a smile, he spread the mountain of paper. A cutscene! Well, I hoped you liked that cutscene. Okay, game. You can move on now. Thank you. This goes here. is here. Wrong, it should always go here. Writing is backwards now. I see. Emogi, that's wrong too. Page numbers are clearly marked right here. Are you blind?
That's true. Fire? I like fire.
Hey you, the girl. What have you been doing this whole time? Me? I said girl. There aren't many girls here besides you and me. Don't you dare ignore me. I asked you what you were doing. What? Just putting the newspaper back together. And why are you doing that? To read the article, of course. So, what's about the piece you're holding now? Says Poco Poco Chan here. That's a comic strip. Why would you be putting that back together? What use would putting that back together have? Really, you guys have zero talent solving puzzles, don't you? What about you, Lynn? Seeing as how you haven't lifted a finger this whole time. I'm fine. I'm the supervisor. What the heck? You have a complaint? Oh, of course not. I have a supervisor soon joined uni and our work was advanced quickly. Or so I thought. But, hey, Fuyukawa-san, can you hand me that piece? With that unexpected utterance, my hands froze. Fuyukawa? I slowly raised my face, almost as if I were pulling it up. Fuyukawa-san, that one. Piece over there, under your hand. Mogi was looking straight at me. Just be sure I turned around to look. There was no one behind me. That means Yomogi was calling me Fuyukawa. By Fuyukawa, you mean Fuyukawa Kokoro, right? I turned around and asked. A scrap of paper fell from Yomogi's hand. Yuri and Lin both stopped what they were doing simultaneously. Only the flaming lantern continued its flickering. Picking up the piece Yomogi had asked for, and joining it near the complete page, I mused aloud. I see. Fuyukawa Kokoro. That's the owner of the body's name. So Lin is still the best at not doing anything. Why am I not surprised? She's helping! Yomogi answered with a firm nod. At that moment I finally understood. What happened to my body? Yomogi Seiji, Mayuzumi Lin, Kusada Uni, and Fuyukawa Kokoro all are here. Furthermore, we're inside a shelter cabin engulfed by a blizzard. I'm getting fed up with the slow speed of my thoughts. DID? Dissociative identity disorder. Uni slowly opened his mouth. I kept my own shut, so I carefully listened to his speech. The main point was this. Yomogi, Uni, Lin, and Fuyukawa Kokoro, those 4 people aboard a small passenger plane flying towards Bakanai. But on the way, the plane crashed due to some sort of problem. Then they were thrown deep into the recesses of snowy Mount Okakura. The time of the crash was around 7 hours ago, a little past 4 p.m. The date was January 11th, of course. They miraculously survived and injured, and had wandered around in the snowstorm for a while before arriving at the mountain cabin. Formal name, Mount Okakura Emergency Shelter Cabin. They survived through the twin calamities, the crash and the blizzard, and managed to reach the shelter cabin where they could finally rest. When the storm settles, the rescue team helicopters will surely arrive, or so they believed. However, an unexpected situation occurred, and the origin of the situation was none other than me. Yukito Satoru's personality and Fuyukawa Kokoro's existence. Uni spoke. Maybe from the shock of the crash, she suddenly developed DID? After being dealt a painful emotional blow, Kokoro gave birth to another personality within herself to escape from the pain. Which sounds exactly like the description that Itsumi probably gave him. In the future. Finally put him pieces together. Wow, it only took a couple of hours. Yeah. Lin answered him. Impossible. I've never heard of a split personality occurring so suddenly. That woman's just lying. First of all, she spoke. Yukito Satoru's name, a name that only I should know. I held myself back and endured the impulse to object, because now simply wasn't the right time to lash out. At any rate, figuring out the mysterious phenomenon is the higher priority. Let's continue with the talk. In these reasons, Yukito Satoru's personality is a fictitious existence produced by Fuyukawa Kokoro's consciousness. It's hard to take in so suddenly. Yomogi just shook his head. Naturally, I didn't support this theory either, because I had memories of Sphia. But what if those are fake? I couldn't answer the dissenting voice inside me. There's no proof either for it or against my theory. In that theory. In any case, I have no memory. None that isn't related to Sphia or the shelter cabin anyway. Is Yukito Satoru's personality a fictitious existence produced by Fuyukawa Kokoro's consciousness after all? No, there's no way something so ridiculous could be true. Logic is useless in this case. I am me. I'm Yukito Satoru. My definite consciousness can't be the product of someone's imagination. Sudden DID? Absolutely absurd. Childhood trauma is the main cause of dissociative identity disorder. Personality disorder, sorry.
New personalities aren't suddenly shaken into existence by a plane crash or two. That's right, Uni's theory had to be wrong. There has to be some other way to explain this. The discussion over, Uni put his lips near my ear and whispered to me, "It's alright. Starro will go back to normal for sure." Those words that he quietly said to me. I guess Yomogi and Lin didn't catch the whisper, as they both were expressionists and of unmasked doubt. As for myself, I too felt the same. I didn't get the true meaning of Uni's words at all. We'd finished restoring the newspaper during Uni's speech. Was it because of the combined efforts of 4 people? We'd made more progress than I thought. We did it! With this, it's complete. Yomogi folded up the patchwork newspaper like it had been before. He laid it flat on the table before our eyes. The 4 of us crowded around. My eyes were fixed on the headline. Yep! The Aomori Prefectural Police announced the recent discovery of the remains of 3 men and women in Aomori Mount Okakura, believed to be victims of the crash of Flight L-18, which claimed 27 lives in January. As they had undergone extensive decomposition over the period of 6 months, the identities of the bodies were unclear. But they assumed the last 3 unaccounted for among the passengers were the crew members of HAL 18. That's right, I forgot some of these details. The bodies were decomposed and 6 months old. So if they did save future Uni from the avalanche, there's no way he would have survived. Because if they found them 6 months later, that means they probably didn't find him right away unless he spent 6 months recovering. The bodies were discovered 1 kilometer east of the Mount Okakura shelter cabin, and it had been confirmed that 3 received a large number of lacerations believed to have been caused by the avalanche which they were caught in soon after surviving the crash. However, due to the bodies of victims being discovered away from the route down the mountain, the Aomori Prefectural Police investigation to the day of their death will continue. According to the Aomori Weather Observation Department, an avalanche affecting Mount Okakura and its surrounding area occurred on January 17, 2011, at around 6:53. Analyzing the traces left by the Mount Okakura shelter cabin, it was concluded that those who used it arrived about 7 days after the crash. The horrific crash of Flight 18, with the discovery of the 3 bodies, claimed 30 lives out of 31 crew members and passengers aboard. Name of survivor, Kasuda Unikun, 11. Names of 3 discovered bodies, Yomogi Seiji-san, Mayuzumi Lin-san, and Fuyukawa Kokoro-san. The instant I finished reading that, a chill ran down my spine. The moment the name Fuyukawa left Yomogi's mouth, I'd somehow felt it. But after seeing this page, the premonition had turned into conviction. I knew of this incident, of course. I remember it very clearly. A plane crash on this scale hadn't happened for decades in this country. If any Japanese person had taken a glance at the paper and TV news around that time, they'd remember the horrible accident. However, that wasn't the case with me. Regarding the accident, I alone was in the unique position among the majority of the Japanese population. Mayuzumi Lin, the woman who had once my girlfriend, had boarded that plane. I remembered it clearly. Lin lost her life in that incident, exactly 1 year ago. Right now before my eyes. Lin. On seeing the article, Lin had frozen stiff, staring off in a daze. Her face growing pale, she stood rooted on the spot as though close to death. It doesn't say how Uni survived. I know, right? It keeps being really frustrating about that. Yomogi and Uni, too, could do nothing but blink and hold their breath. They were reduced to ice sculptures. Get a grip. Get a grip. No matter what, get a grip. Psyching myself up best I could, I looked around. First of all, I had to make sure that this really was the shelter cabin on Mount Okakura. A door entered my field of vision. I thought of saying something to them, but changed my mind, feeling it would be pointless. After taking the lantern off the table, I strolled out through the door without a word. And this is when the body swap happened. Interesting. Outside was the blizzard. Snowflakes descended without end, advancing on me in cold waves. Bent down and held my hands over my head and directed the glow of the lantern toward the entrance. There's a sign fixed there. Mount Okakura Emergency Shelter Cabin. Those words were clearly written on the sign. However, I couldn't just believe what I read in a single sign. I looked out in the darkness. I couldn't see anything. Was this really Mount Okakura? I felt as if the true shape was concealed, hidden on the other side of darkness. I boldly threw myself in the snowfield. You're a moron! Thank God the personality swap happened so you don't kill her. Dimly. A world blurred black, an infinite space devoid of depth, isolated and alone. drifting away. But drifting away from what and to where? Find out after a break. Just get up, stretch, whatever you need to do, be able to keep watching comfortably.
And I will be right back.